because other abductees, I guess, report being shown catastrophes and stuff of I don't know, of the Earth, and it's just weird. I mean, what's the coincidences? I mean, that to see the same being and to I mean, actually experience that as somebody else would. I mean, it just don't seem like it's possible. But the research I've done, I mean, it's messed me up. It's really took a toll on me.
Well,
I learned who Bud Hopkins was, John Mack. I mean, David M. Jacobs. I mean, it's really traumatic.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Calvin Parker last night was on, and him and his friend or so-called friend were on the pier of the river, and they saw the bright reflection of a bright light, and the first thing he thought, they were going to be busted for being on private property,
yeah.
And the next thing they know, that they're being abducted. And he felt like somebody was injecting something into him where he lost conscious. And then, he vaguely remembered them putting their fingers down his throat and trying to go up his nasal cavity. That's the things that it concerned me about these abductions. Don, I get so many people, it's been on the show the last couple of years that'll say, hey, aliens are here to protect mankind. But then I come back and I realize, after interviewing so many people, and I've been on and off doing talk shows since 1976. So it's not like I started out, a month ago. And the thing is, if these aliens were here to help man, okay, why would they abduct somebody without talking to them first or communicating with them first and saying what they are, what they want to do? No, they abduct somebody, take them aboard a spacecraft, experiment with them, and return them. At least some people are being returned. I got a funny feeling not every person that's being abducted is being returned. I mean, women are getting, eggs removed from them. People are getting DNA removed from them. Experiment, implants, all this stuff without their permission. So that tells me they can't be kind and lovable creatures here to serve man.
No, probably not. Not unless they're picking up the trash and stuff. But yeah, I see what you mean, because they come in like a thief and they take you and to drug you, like how I felt, like a daze. Like Calvin. When he said that he was drugged. It was like coming out of anesthesia to me. It was like I was in a daze, like just. I mean, the abduction part in the ship, that was kind of more like a dream, but it was like I woke up right there at the window when I'm sitting there floating. And it's just like I was coming into it and just sitting there floating for, I mean, how they say missing time. Well, to me, there was no time, or time was slowed way down. Somehow they had manipulated time, and somehow they got into the bedroom, so somehow they can come through matter. I don't know if it's my soul that was taken or my body. Is it my subconsciousness, or is it my whole body? Or does stuff manifest on your body from your soul? I don't know, because
whatever.
I mean, I got a little.
What I think, I think what happens is very simply that they have the capabilities to go through matter. So whatever they're doing to remove you out of your car, out of your house or your environment, they can go through solid matter along with you. And, all these cases that I've been reading for all these years, it's pretty much always the same thing. The people always say they felt like they were floating. Even Calvin Parker last night, he felt like these two mechanical creatures, put their arm around his arm, okay? But they weren't hurting him that much, but he kind of floated off the ground to the spaceship.
Yes.
So, and I've heard this so many times that people say that they floated through the window, they floated through the wall.
That's it, and that's what I research. And when my mom said, that's crazy, because she had a dream she's floating up in the lemon closet one night. Well, 15 feet away. I did the math. I mean, there's 44,000 nights in between us. What's the odds? I've only had two like that. What's the odds of somebody else having one 15 feet away, where I see a little pale being in the living room hallway? I mean, there's more to it than you know.
Well, it is. Now, have you ever talked to your brother about as if?
Yes. My brother Mike. Yeah. He's never had experienced nothing like that, or had nothing like that happen to him.
Wow. Now, have you ever?
I don't remember.
Have you ever had any puncture wounds at all on your body in a weird pattern or anything?
Marks. I got a scoop mark on my leg that's in my left leg that's an indentation that I mean, I don't know. I can't. It's coincidence maybe that it looks like a scoop mark that Bud Hopkins says, you know, that the W's have. I don't know. It could be coincidence. I don't know. But yeah, and then like I got something in my left wrist, that's a little dark piece. But I got on Facebook on this support group, alien-abduction support group, and I scroll down, and the first thing I see is this guy that's got two dark things in his palm of his hand, and I'm thinking, what now? Is this coincidence again? You know, because I had one in my palm, a little, and I don't know if I still got it or it's buried deep in there, but I still got one in my wrist, and I'm just thinking, like, you know, is this another coincidence? Because I don't want to jump in the bandwagon and say I've been abducted by aliens, because it sounds crazy. You know, who in the right mind would say I want to be, or I have been abducted by aliens? It's just all this coincidence. I mean, all these things that happen to me. That I mean, is it real? Am I going crazy? It's, you know, one of them things.
Well, you know, let's face it. 20 years ago, people were scared to say, "Hey, I saw a UFO." And, you know, and a lot of people were scared if they went out and reported, I saw a UFO, people would look at them as crazy. But you know what? We would have to be so naive to realize that we're the only life in existence in any solar system, period, or, you know, in vast space out there, that our planet is the only one it has humanoids. I can't believe that. I just can't believe that we're the only ones. And I do feel that we have been rebooted on this planet before. I really think that we're not the first generation of humanoids that has walked this earth. I think the earth is way older than what they even think it is. You know, some scientists say, oh, the earth is not even as old as what they say it is. No, I think they're dead wrong. And when it comes to what you encountered, or like Timothy Collin, for example, him and his wife, well, they were going to town, and they come up to a little hill with a stop sign, and they notice to the right of them, I believe, they see a UFO on top of this hill. And that's all they remember. And then they go into town. Well, several weeks later, because he was in a car accident before that, but it was nothing that would have any metal punctures or anything in them. They do x-rays and do all this stuff, and they find something in his, you know, wrist. And it's something that shouldn't be there. So he gets a hold of Dr. Roger Lear, and then he has to give Dr. Lear, you know, a whole bunch of x-rays, and then has a mental evaluation before Dr. Lear would take the case. Well, anyway, during the surgery, they found a little silver object that was encased, in cartridge of, muscle and whatever, in the surrounding tissue. Well, anyway, they sent it out to the lab to be tested. And yes, it was silver. But the compound, the way it was compounded, is no way it could have been put together on Earth.
Yes, yeah.
No. And
I mean, you got some asteroids and stuff that are, I guess, meteors that have been found in abducted, how do they get there?
Well, it tells me that there is things going on. And, and there's a lot of people out there that I think have been abducted. They don't even realize it. Seriously. I think there's a lot of people.
There's I'd say probably they did a Roper poll, but I forget the numbers, but yeah, it's up there really. And a lot of people don't remember because they have a way to erase your memory, to block that memory. I mean, what I think I remembered, I don't know if I had the new guy and he messed up when my brother went to the bathroom. Maybe that's why, because everything got, or I might not have remembered, but I ponder on it every day. I don't know.
Well, I don't want to sound, but like before we went on the air, back in the 70s, I took a job in North Carolina, and we didn't like it. Coming from Puget Sound, Washington State, which is a very lovable state. I mean, so many things. You got the mountains, you got the ocean, you got the sound. It's just a beautiful area. And they kind of lied to us and said, hey, in Newborn, North Carolina, it's just like the Puget Sound area. So we drove there. I sold everything to take this job. I get there, and my wife was crying because, the atmosphere was not what she expected. And it actually wrecked our marriage, which actually, in a way, looking back at it, I'm glad it did, because I've been married now for 42 years and to my wife now, and I love her like you wouldn't believe. But coming back...
That's awesome, Gary.
But coming back, when I quit the job, we had to drive pretty much nonstop. I mean, we didn't even have the money to go to a hotel or anything. So I lived on no-dos. Well, now people are going to say, okay, Gary, you hallucinated what you saw. But we get into New Mexico, and they had a speed limit. It was like 95 or 90, whatever. It was really weird. And I loved it coming from Washington, which at that time had a speed limit of 70. I had a GTO. Hey, I wanted to go fast. And I'm cruising whatever I could do legally. And all of a sudden, all around my car, now this is pitch black nighttime. It lit up like daylight. It lit up brighter than daylight. It lit up the inside of the car where it actually hurt my eyes. So I pull over thinking, okay, it's a helicopter. I'm going to get busted. I must be speeding over whatever, And I pull off the side of the road. I get out of the car, Don. I don't hear a single sound. Nothing. But the light is so intense and so bright and hot that the next thing I know, poof, it was gone.
That fast.
That fast. And it kind of shook me and my wife up at the time. We started looking out the window like for UFOs, for, I don't know, hours that night. But kind of, I kind of forgot about it. Till the 90s, I go into a surgeon for because of because I have both my knees are bad. I used to ride a mountain bike and all that stuff when I was young, and messed up my knees. And I go in there and I've had some other issues. So they do a CAT scan or whatever they do, where you go in that little chamber and they do a whole thing of your body scan.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting now a couple weeks later to see the surgeon. The head nurse comes out and she says, Gary, where did you get that piece of metal in the upper part of your back and your spine? And I go, I don't have any. You sure you're talking about me? And she goes, yeah, but the doctor wants to talk to you about it. So I go in there and the doctor starts telling me about this, and I'm starting to freak out because I started remembering, my Vietnam days. No, nothing happened there. It could have done that. There was no puncture marks or nothing in the area. And, I'm going, okay, well, what do we have to do to remove it? And the doctor goes, I can't remove it because it's near your spinal cord. If I go in there, the scar tissue of trying to remove it, all this stuff, you could be in a wheelchair. Now, I kind of like brushed that off. I didn't associate it with anything about what happened in the mid 70s. Trust me. Just kind of figured out, wow, this is weird. Okay. But one of my sons gets in trouble, a few years later, where I have to take him to court every month for a year. Now, I'm a big guy. I used to be skinny, but I got fat as the older I got. And I'm sitting here having to go through a metal detector, right? I set off the metal detector, Don, and the first thing they say, okay, empty your pockets. I empty my pockets. Okay, take your belt off. Now, do you know what it's like when you're a big guy and you take your belt off? You know what the odds are you dropping your pants?
I know, it's straight down.
Well, it did. And it was like about 70, 80 people there laughing their head off. But I
wore underwear.
I did wear underwear, thank God. But it happened every single month. And it got to a point where I come in there, they would then start taking me into a special room where I had to get naked, and they do all these scans on me, trying to figure out if I got some type of, what. They make you bend over. Yeah. They put the glove on, right? All that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It didn't hit me till about a year ago. And I started thinking just like you did. I started thinking, okay, in the 70s, okay, I saw that bright light, Okay, I pulled off,